Be sure also to go to our YouTube and add a subscribe and click the notification bell. Hit the like button. You already know how that works. Alrighty. And that is youtube.com/the Pastor Max Viana. We're going to get started in about 20 seconds. Be right back. Alright everybody, how you guys doing? This is Pastor Max. This is the Pastor Max Show. So we're excited to be here today. Before we get started though, I want to let you guys know a quick disclaimer. If you are a hypocrite, you're holier than thou, closed-minded, can't agree to disagree. If you're God's first cousin, the Virgin Mary's favorite auntie, this podcast is not for you, alright? Now I am a pastor, but this is not church. We're about to have a good conversation as it relates to relationships. Well, we might talk about relationships in the church, relationships outside, but we're not going to sit here and preach today. That's not what this is about, all right? Be sure to share this with everybody that you can. Come on in. Make sure you comment, ask questions. Write this number down, 661-234-6566. If you guys want to call in, you'll be live on the air having a conversation with me, and everybody will be listening to you. Today we want to talk about the repercussions of what happens when you are single for too long. This is interesting because a lot of times people actually start getting used to being single. They get used to that, the thought of that, and but they don't realize that there's an actual repercussion behind that. There are repercussions around being single for too long. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't realize that, but this is a truth. It deals with psychology. What happens is when you're single for too long, certain things start happening to you, believe it or not. And you can disagree. It's completely fine. Comment on it if you agree or disagree. Comment. I'll read your comment. What begins to happen is you begin to get to a place where you start losing self-esteem and don't even realize it. Thank you so much. You start losing self-esteem. Your self-esteem starts going away. You don't even realize it, to the point where you begin to lose yourself because you're out of the market for so long. You're out of the dating market. You no longer are in a relationship that you forget how to deal with people as it relates to being in a relationship. We all been through this before, where we're in a relationship, we're open, we're outgoing, we're all of these things, and then we break up, we stay single for quite a while, and then what happens? You go to that one spot that you used to go to and you were just so free. Now it's like you don't know how to approach people. You don't know how to answer. If someone tries to speak to you, you don't know how to respond back. We all been through that. These are some of the repercussions that happen when you are single for too long. Along with that, you develop a fear of rejection and don't even realize it. All of this begins to affect your future relationship with someone else. All of this puts you in a place where you begin to knot up and start living in a shell. You don't trust anybody. And what's dangerous about that is you get so used to it. You get so used to being alone that all of a sudden you just start thinking to yourself, you don't need anyone else. It's crazy because we get in that situation, and so what we do is we begin to get lost in our work. We drown in our work. We put more energy in self. We put more energy into close friends, and we leave relationships alone. Again, this may seem on the exterior like it's completely okay, but this is a dangerous situation to be in, because all in all, when you really break it down, you find yourself yourself actually being lonely. You become a lonely person. You prolong singlehood, which leads to more loneliness and isolation. And now you're away from everybody. You lack consistent emotional connection with a partner. The sense of isolation might make it harder to open up to new people. Again, you don't even realize this is what happens to you when you are spending time too long being single. You completely lose yourself. You become isolated, so much so that it is hard to deal and learn new people. And there is a fear of not finding that deep connection again that could add to your life. How many of you guys ever been through that? Did you know that this is one of the results of being single too long? Because we don't need anybody. We don't care for nobody. I'm a Nubian queen. I'm an independent woman. I don't need a man. And we already know how that works. And the truth of the matter is that while you're living with that type of mentality, you're completely isolating yourself from an entire world that God meant for you to be in. Let's see what the Bible has to say about that. Genesis 2:18. And even God says it is not good for man to be alone. Man should not be alone. In a sense, he turns around and he says, you know what? Because I don't want you to be alone. I don't want you to be single. Because remember, initially that's what we were. We were created single. And the devil wants nothing more but to make you think that being single is how you need to be. Oh yeah, that's what he wants. He wants to make you feel like being single is the way to go. And then it's interesting because there's another scripture in the Bible where 1 Corinthians 7:2. Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Again, this is not a religious show. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to be sitting here and trying to make each other feel like we're preaching today. No, we're actually talking about relationships. Because even in the church, we said it in our last podcast, it becomes so hard to date in the church simply because there's so many eyes, so many look-a-loos, so many people in the church that are all up in your business. I know we all know somebody like that. They want to know what you're doing, why you're talking to this person. It's obvious, don't you think? I'm interested in this man, or this man is interested in me. Get out of our business. Help me with my spiritual life, but get out of my business. How do they expect you to get married, yet they don't want you to date? How do they expect you to get married, and yet they don't want you to establish a relationship and go out and get to know each other? They see you walking around with somebody, it's a problem. If they see you at the movies holding hands with the person that you're getting used to and acquainted to, it's a problem. But God, not the pastor, not the deacon, not the usher, not the mother, God said it is not good for man to be alone. So I'm sorry, but at this point, I believe that some of us, God bless you too, Janet, at some point, some of us have to tell these people to mind their own business. You cannot build a healthy, listen to me, a healthy relationship with a man or a woman with people in your business. And while we're on the subject, I want to mention one more thing. Ladies, please keep your family out of your relationship business, because that's another mistake that we make too often. A lot of times, you're having an issue with your man. No one said that your relationship is going to be perfect. As a matter of fact, if you run into a relationship where everything just seems like it's perfect, run, because we have an issue. Okay? So you got to understand, you're going to have issues in your relationship, but it does not mean that you have to take your personal business and run to your mother, run to your father, run to your brothers, run to your friends and tell them your business. Stop spreading your personal business about your friend or your significant other with your family. If that's your husband, that's even worse, because what's going to happen is people are always going to take your side, and there will always be someone. First of all, they didn't like him in the first place, or men, they didn't like her in the first place because she was too cute, or she's too outspoken, or she has a mind of her own, or she dresses nice, or she's just intelligent, and vice versa. So stop sharing your business, because all they're going to do is destroy what God has for you. Remember, when people say, girl, you can do better by yourself, always remember, while they telling you this in this side of your head, God on this side is saying it is not good for man to be alone. While they saying, you don't need him, on this side, God is saying to avoid fornication, men be the husband of one woman and woman the wife of one husband. That's what the Bible says. Being lonely has so many repercussions. You begin to develop the fear of rejection, and that in itself is dangerous itself. I want to read this out to you. It says, single people may feel more worried about getting rejected. If you believe that that is true, comment. I want to hear what you got to say. It says that single people may be more worried about getting rejected or opening up into new relationships. And this is, when we're talking about single people, we're talking about people that have been single for a long time. That is dangerous, people. Because how many times have you been single for so long that all of a sudden you get into a relationship, and after a while it just feels like this person is crowding your space. It feels like you don't want this person around. You need your distance. You need your space, or as you women are famous to say, you need your me time. How many times have you been in that situation? But that only happens because you have been single a little bit too long. This is what happens. And so now you begin to isolate yourself from people. Now, this also says, after long stints of singlehood, people may be extra careful when getting to know new potential partners. They may question whether they can establish meaningful emotional bonds. Keyword is they question this. You begin to question yourself. Can I do this? Can I really deal with somebody? Do I need someone new in my life? Yeah. And then what happens is you get so lost into your work, your children, your family, your friends. Usually you begin to make more time for your friends because that's the escape that you run to because you're afraid of rejection or you're afraid to open up to a new partner. Again, only because you develop fear of a new relationship for being single too long. So what do you end up doing? Working. Guy comes up. Hey, what's up with you? He wants to take you out. He's asking you out. What do you say? Oh, I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm working. That's always the go-to line. Then you put yourself in a place where you end up working so hard because you don't make room for someone to come help you. You work so hard, you work double. Some of you are getting second jobs. Some of you are working late nights. You can't sleep. You're working so hard, you can barely spend time with your own children. And this is why you're working in the first place. Simply because you're trying to drown out the single life and don't even realize it. You begin to drown out what's called a fear for rejection. You begin to question yourself, and can you establish a meaningful emotional bond which can further contribute to your cautious approach? Because now when you approach a relationship, you're being cautious, but the danger there is that you begin to be too cautious. And in some cases, I need you guys to really understand this, ladies, because men that can have some meaning in your life are starting to get to a place now where they begin to actually walk away. They begin to not pursue you as much anymore. Oh, they'll stick around. Because like I said in the last podcast, not everybody in the church is saved now. Yeah, they go to church, but not everybody in the church is saved. So you got people in the church that's going to act more worldly than the people in the world. In fact, they'll act so worldly that the people in the world will be like, damn, what? Yeah. So these are repercussions. You begin to develop this cautious approach when interacting with new potential partners. And then there's that loneliness thing. Then this is another thing, the key that can happen when you are single for too long. All of a sudden begin to develop low self-esteem and don't even realize it. You don't even realize it because in your mind you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I'm good. I don't need a man. I don't need him. I'm cool. If I need a man, I'll call. I got options. I can go out, hang out. But at the end of the day, when it's time for you to spend quality time with somebody worth having a relationship with, now you don't know how to approach that relationship. You don't know how to cater to that relationship. You don't know how to entertain that relationship. And so the danger there becomes this, ladies, because you don't know how to entertain that relationship, you allow this person to entertain you. And now the biggest danger there there is that you fall in sin. This is what happens. So, if you guys have any opinions about what we're talking about, if you guys feel that you disagree, let me know. I want to see what you're saying. I want to read out what you're saying. This is very interesting to me. Some people may experience a decline of self-esteem or self-worth after being single for so long due to social pressures or personal beliefs about being in a relationship. You start developing these relationship things. I don't know about that, or I don't have time, or I don't need this and I don't need that, or I could do without, or you know what, if I'm gonna be arguing, I can do all, what's the famous word y'all say? I can do bad all by myself. Ladies, don't listen to Tyler Perry. I'm gonna tell you this, don't listen to Medea. Because at the end of the day, this is what I need y'all to understand. And it's very, very simple. It's very simple. If you're single in your 50s, you're not single. You're alone. Get that through your head. If you're hitting 45, 50, and you're by yourself, you're not single. You're alone. It's a big difference. You can fool yourself into thinking that you're single. No, you're alone. Because you reach the years where, I'm sorry to say, nobody wants you. Same thing with men, but the difference between men and women at a later age, men become more valuable simply because they begin to settle down. And what they do is they begin to get their stuff together, get their lives together. They hold a job. They start saving money. They start doing all those things that you wish this guy should have did when he was younger. Why didn't he do this when we were together when we were younger? Well, he wasn't ready, but you were. You see how that works? And all of a sudden, he's older now. He's more stable. He's established. He's buying property, nice cars. He's dressing nice because women begin to get attracted to older men. So the value of an older man begins to go up, but then the value of the older woman begins to decrease. And now, if you're a beautiful old woman, now you're competing with your daughter. In your mind, you don't see it that way because in your heart, you're not trying to compete with her. But this is how people on the outside begin to look at you and look at the whole situation. Now, you want to hang with your daughter, which is completely equivalent to the old man inside the club. Now, you're 50, 54, 55 years old and you're wearing a little black dress. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You're wearing a little black dress, that club dress, that famous club dress that you got to keep shimming down every time you take 2 steps. Come on now. Simply because you did not establish your life and your future while you were slightly younger. You begin to live this executive life, this woman of power, this queen, this independent woman. And remember, I said in the last podcast, I'll say it again. I'm a queen. I'm independent. Last time I checked, you can't be a queen without a king. You're titled a queen. Only a king can give you that title. Can't give yourself that title. It is possible for a king to exist without a queen, but you can't become a queen without a king. And furthermore, while we're on that subject, if the king dies and he has children, well, guess what, queen? You are no longer the queen. That new king, which is my son, is going to make his wife the new queen. See how that works? In other words, we need each other. We're not here to bash men versus women, women versus men. What we're here to really do is find an equal ground on how we can exist and get back to how relationships are supposed to be. Yeah. Well, I disagree, Pastor Max, because everywhere I go, people be trying to hit on me. Yeah. You control the cookie. The truth of the matter, you control the cookie. And I said it the last time, but we as men control marriage. How you look coming to me getting on your knees, talking about, Max, will you marry me? Doesn't work like that, right? Your value goes down. You look desperate. We control marriage. Women, you can't get married without us proposing to you. Because if you proposed to me and we got married, you probably wouldn't feel right for the rest of your life. You know you wouldn't. You know you wouldn't. We got some people here that are agreeing. And it's the truth, and that's just the plain truth. But at the same time, you control the cookie. I said in the last podcast, we can't have the cookie without you opening the jar, right? So how can we exist together and build together and put something meaningful together and help each other elevate our self-esteem, help each other grow, help each other build, keyword build, help each other own some stuff? Yeah, that's what it's all about. And man, I gotta say this, my brothers, whether you're African American, whether you're Caucasian, Chinese, I don't care what you are, if you're Hispanic, Puerto Rican, no importa qué idioma hables, eso no importa. importa si eres un hombre, tienes que pararte como un hombre firme. If you're a man, you gotta stand up and be a firm, solid man that a woman can depend on. This is why women always say, oh, well, I'll submit, but, I just won't submit to just anybody. You won't submit to a man, but you're giving yourself to one. You're raising your body count. And I want to say this. I want to be very clear with this, and this is very important. Men look at body count. Women, you guys are usually, y'all can deal with that. We can't. Men, we don't know how to deal with body count. We have an issue with that. We can be like, well, how many men have you been with? You be like, oh, I only been with 2 in my life. We be like, oh man, 2? But then, a woman would sit there and look at a man that's been with numerous amounts of women, and a woman would be like, hey, it's cool, don't trip, that's your past, we gonna build together. Tamika says media has men scared to approach women and vice versa. No. Oh my God, taking it out of context. No, it's not media. Baby girl, it is women. Women have men not afraid. Y'all know how men get down. Y'all walk in and a man will just grab your hand and, hey girl, come here, let me holler at you. Y'all know how that go down. Y'all be pulling that little arm. Y'all know. All y'all went through that when y'all used to go in the club. No, it's not media. You don't see media on TV talking about relationships, because media is very, very settled with controlling the mind of women, and controlling the mind of men. Media would take women and give them the great jobs and make them feel extremely superior to their men, and they know that there's something that comes with being superior to somebody that's called an ego. And once that ego kicks in, you don't need media. You don't need nobody, girl. You self-destruct. Period. Your whole family gone. Bye. Bam! Out of here. That's how that works. And then social media, as you say, social media bashes women horribly. This is the problem. It's not so much that social media bashes. What it is that we support those kind of posts. We support those kind of people. I'll give you an example. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. A lot of people misunderstood Kevin Samuels because they thought that he was always bashing women, but he was just very direct. If you really listen to what he says, he was never really saying anything that wasn't true. Problem is he said it in a way that it wasn't easily digest, and people had a problem with how it was coming into their ear gates. So then it appeared to be that he was arrogant. It appeared to be that he had an issue with women. It appeared to be that he had all of these things. But if you really listen to what he was saying, he was always on point. It was about trying to get you to marry while you have value. But the issue was that all the women always felt like, I don't care how old I get, I still have that value. No, because what makes you even more valuable is when you're part of a team. See, for example, I'm an established man, very mature man. I've been very successful in my life, and you guys follow me, so you guys know whatever I get into, I excel. And I'm always into my work and the things that I find interesting, okay? But regardless of that, how good am I at 52 being single? How do I look at 52 driving a E-Class Mercedes parked outside with nobody sitting on the passenger seat? How do I look at 52 going to the supermarket by myself, not shopping for a household, which at 52 you should be shopping for a household, but I'm shopping for dinner that night? It doesn't add up. Basically what it says is, I don't care how successful you are, it means absolutely nothing. You see that? That's coming from a man that's stable and successful. Now, what about those men that aren't? Bad shape, right? Bad shape. Just imagine their self-esteem. So then you take the same thing with a woman, and now you begin to look at how women are approaching things. And then women can't seem to find that relationship. They can't seem to settle down for. Women are having a lot of trust issues because they trusted someone, and because y'all love so hard, y'all love so deep, all of a sudden you get betrayed, and now you don't want to open up to absolutely nobody but a rose. You don't trust absolutely nobody. But at the end of the day, the truth is, you're walking around single. Yeah, you have this awesome job, but guess what? In order to keep the lifestyle that you established while you were living single and happy, now you gotta overwork yourself. So now you're in a place where you can't even enjoy what you do for a living. You're coming home, you're in pain, you're tired. Your free time, instead of spending it with a significant other, you're spending it sleeping. Yeah, y'all know I'm telling the truth, because this is most of you guys. And then you have this unbalanced situation from the younger generation of women and a few older ones that shouldn't be doing this. But if you log on social media, as Tamika said earlier, all you're going to see is a bunch of women just shaking it and showing it all. Yeah, because they getting 100,000 likes or views on a post. I mean, every page you go to, it seems like there's a girl on there doing this and putting her tongue out and just shaking her hips and wearing basically absolutely nothing. And don't even realize us men, we're not turned on by that. Not real men. I'm turned on by being able to say, hey, let's get together. Let's go out to dinner. Face to face. Sit down. It doesn't have to be an expensive dinner. It could just be a casual dinner. Sitting down, just talking, having a drink. Ain't nothing wrong with a drink, people. Knock it off. Pastors, shame on you. Read your Bible. It's not a sin to drink. If you show it to me in the Bible, I will tear the page out and eat it. Now, I said it publicly, but I can show you over and over in the Bible where it says it's okay to drink. Just don't get drunk. I can show you in the Bible where it says a drink is good for the blood. It runs off diseases. I can show you in the Bible where it says that. I can show you in the Bible in the book of Luke where it says that Jesus Christ was sitting there drinking wine. I study mine. So knock that off about they can't get together, go have a dinner and have a glass of wine and have a drink. No, people, stop teaching people wrong in the church. Stop it. This is why a lot of pastors don't like me, because I know my Bible. And when I break stuff down to them, I study in Semitic languages, and when I break stuff down, it's hard to argue. You can't argue it, because the only way you can prove me wrong is with the Bible. And guess what? It's not going to contradict itself. No, you can go to a restaurant, you can have your meal, you can go out with your friend that you're interested in, that's interested in you. You can sit there and talk to each other and find interest in each other. Y'all can sit there and have a glass of wine or have a drink and be cool. Just don't get drunk. And if somebody in the church got a problem with it, oh well. Pray for them because they sinning. Period. But do not allow people to step in and control what you are doing with your future. Because at the end of the day, women, y'all don't want to die alone. What Kevin Samuel said, buy a dog and die alone? No, nobody want to buy a dog and die alone. You want to have that person next to you. You want to be able to make sure that if your health declines quicker than his, he got your back. He'll take care of you. Period. And vice versa. This is what relationships are truly all about. But when you stay single too long, there are repercussions that you begin to develop that you don't even realize. Low self-esteem happens to be one of them. You no longer know how to be approached, and you don't know if you should approach somebody. You become desperate. You start looking for other avenues rather than looking for the man that's supposed to be in your life. And women, sometimes God will send that person and you don't want him, because like I said before, you're looking for a 6 foot tall guy with a 6-pack making 6 figures. 666. Ain't that something? And this is what attracts you. This is what you want. Meanwhile, Mr. Perfect is standing right before you. This guy would come. He's not a bad looking guy. You know, women, sometimes these men may just need a little bit of help. Come on now. I know how y'all feel about helping a man. Shanda rababa. Okay? Sometimes, I mean, you could just, and you know what? If I get behind this guy, if I'm a bad, I could help him get his stuff together. I could help him excel. And with me, the way I am, and what I see in him, if I can help him get to where he needs to, man, we are a power situation. But no, he got to make 100K, 200,000. 100K ain't no money for y'all no more. You got to make $200,000-$300,000. Yeah. And then the sad thing about it is you're demanding all of this, but you're coming with baggage. Yeah. And you're coming with tons of baggage. You have to get to a place where you don't demand so much. You understand your value. You understand his value. And then at the same time, you understand what value y'all can build together and begin to establish something, and don't let a good situation pass you by. A lot of times good situations are before you. It's right in front of you, and you just let it walk right through your fingers because you're looking for somebody that is out of a magazine. You're looking for the next Donald Trump Jr. I know probably y'all sitting there going, I didn't know Donald Trump. Oh no.
Oh my God.
I know. Yeah. You gotta lower your expectations a little bit. You know, you gotta understand, you can go out on a date with somebody and not be intimate with them. That's what dates are for. Go out on a date with him and get to know him. Get to feel him out. Understand his personality, the things that he likes. If he gets along with his father, his mother, if his parents are still alive. If he has children, how he treats his children. Is he absent or is he a good father? If you have children, all of a sudden, second date, bring the kids along. Ask him how he feel about the kids coming along. See his reaction, you know. Get to see how he feels about that. If he is interested in you and your children, the full package, or he just want the cookie. Yeah, that's what dates are for, you know? But instead, what are we doing? We go out, we spend time at dinner, and then once you go out to dinner, it's all about going to the sack. And no form of getting to know each other. None whatsoever. This is where spending time and getting to know each other comes into play. And whoever don't like it, guess what? They don't pay your rent, they don't pay your bills, they're not gonna sleep in the same bed with you and your husband. Oh well, let them know they being nosy. Stay out of mine. Stay out of my business. Period. So let's see. It says that one of the traits that people develop when they're single too long, it says, is some people may experience a decline of self-esteem or self-worth. Dangerous, because self-esteem is one thing, self-worth is another one, and they're both heavy. And this goes on after being single a little bit too long due to the social pressures of personal beliefs about being in a relationship. In a world that emphasizes the importance of romantic partnerships and portrays them as benchmark of success and happiness. Understand what they're saying. We're living in a world where your relationship dictates. It portrays how successful you can be. It dictates and it portrays how successful you are. I used it as an example earlier. You got all of this stuff, you know, driving this Mercedes and this, that, and then you're going to the store shopping for yourself just to eat that night. You're not shopping for a family. You're not shopping for the week. You're shopping for the moment because you're living in the moment. I don't care how much money you got. The other side of that, after work, you go to Chili's or Red Lobster, whatever is in your budget, you sit down and you order a meal for yourself. What are you getting out of that? After you pay your tip and you jump in your car on your way home in your Mercedes by yourself to entertain buddies when you could be at home with your wife, your partner, building, understanding, helping carry, because nowadays you got to have two incomes in the house. All that, the man does it all and the woman doesn't. That pretty much is over with, people. I want to make that now. There are some instances where a man can carry that, but in most cases nowadays, it takes two. It takes two. If you a boss, like you say you are, right? You don't want to be at home anyways. You want to go out there and continue being a boss amongst other people. But when you come home, you submit to your husband. The beautiful thing about that is when you come home, you don't got to work as hard. You don't got to do it all. And this is, again, why dating is so important. Because if you're dating and getting to know someone and he's making you do it all, ladies, he's not the right one for you. Being single for a long time can sometimes lead to heightened social anxiety, particularly in situations involving couples or new dates. So what it makes you do is it makes you run. How many of you guys have been in a situation where a guy calls you and he's talking to you and he's trying to show you that he's interested, and no matter what he say, you're always trying to take the conversation somewhere else. You're running. The guy says, hey, look, I'm interested in you. I think I like you. And you're like, yeah, man. So, and you start talking about something else. How many of y'all been through that? Yeah, that's a form of anxiety and don't even know it. Look at that. And this usually happens with people that have been single too long. 661-234-6566, 661-234-6566. If you guys want to call in, be a part of this conversation. Some single people may feel anxious in situations with couples. My God, see, you gotta think about all these scenarios. You know, you're in a place where you're going out with your friend and your friend's wife, and you're the third string. And now you're feeling anxious because, wow, man, look at them. They got each other. Who do I have? And it's not like you can bring Charlie along because next week you may go out with them again and now it's Timothy because you haven't figured out what you want yet. And a week after that is just you. Well, how's Charlie? I like Charlie. Charlie was cool. Oh, no. And all it was Charlie who's adding a little bit more pressure because he understands that you guys are on a timeline. You don't have another 50 years. You guys are dealing with time. Not to mention, he's probably got 2 or 3 women that's interested in him, but he's interested in you. Not to mention, you probably got 2 or 3 men that are interested in you. And watch this. You're usually attracted to the one that's no good for you. Y'all know how that works? You're usually chasing the one that is no good for you, the one that can't do anything for you, the one that is trouble, the one that is there to use you, the one that's there to take up all the little bit of money you've been saving, the one that shows up and immediately a week or two later he's driving your car, he's got a key to your house, he's walking in and out, coming in with all his friends, eating your food, not caring about your children, and then want to get mad at you when you complain. That's usually, oh, by the way, sleeping on his mama's couch. That's the one that you usually are always attracted to. But the one that gets up in the morning, owns his own car, has his own place, has a steady job, whether it be a high-paying job or a job. He's got something going on for himself. He's got goals. If you got a problem with him working at Vons, well, help him. Help him get in a better place so that he can qualify for something better. Yeah, these are the ones that you don't want. These are the ones that you stay away from. These are the ones that you're like, no, girl, no, he ain't got it like that. I need somebody that got it going on. Why? Why can't y'all get it going on together? So then what happens is you begin to think that you can only find this kind of person outside of the church. You go outside and like anything else, at first it's perfect. But after a while, what happens? After a while, you're by yourself. After a while, you ain't got nothing going on. After a while, he plays you. After a while, you in the church, oh God, help me. After a while, you don't even want to come to church no more. After a while, you chasing the wrong person because your self-esteem is so low, he done played you and broke you down like a fraction. People that have been single too long also suffer with their change of priorities. Instead of focusing on a partner, single people may prioritize careers. And some of you at home are probably sitting out going, wow, that's me. Just the entrance of that right there tells you, wow. So you know that what we're saying is not a lie. Instead of focusing on a partner and a long life partner, someone to establish a future with and grow together and establish goals together, you're worried about yourself, which means now you're training yourself to be selfish, and you're prioritizing everything around your career. Now you don't have time to go bowling. You don't have time to go to dinner. You don't have time to just sit down and watch a movie, as they say, Netflix, and chill. You don't have time to just spend quality time and get to know somebody, because even when you're at home, you're thinking about your career. Meanwhile, your boss, by the way, is at home with his wife, planning a trip to Hawaii, planning a trip to Palm Springs or whatever resort, spending time with their children at Disneyland or Magic Mountain or whatever. And meanwhile, they're not even thinking. They left all their computers and everything at home, and you're at home thinking about work. Tamika says it depends on your career, though. Personally, if I'm not driving, I'm not making money. Again, what would happen, Tamika, if you had a significant other that can carry at least half the load of your expenses? Would you have to drive so much? That's the point. But because there is no one that can carry that extra load or that second half of the load, it forces you not to be able to live, and it forces you to have to work more. It forces you to have to work for two people. It forces you to have to work double. But just imagine if you could work less, because he's holding his queen down. He's holding it down, and he understands, look, man, I got to bring in a certain amount of money every month consistently. And now she can say, you know what? I have time now to plan that trip to the resort with my man. I have time now to plan that extra thing, or that, we can go over here or fly over here or go shopping over here. You can do that now. But because that does not exist, it forces you to focus more on your career, and it makes you have to work overtime by default. And you didn't even realize you fell into that trap. You just thought in your mind, I'm doing the right thing. I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to buy property. I'm situating stuff for my family. I'm situating stuff for me. I'm situating stuff for my kids and their future, and to this and to that. And I got to save money for a rainy day and room. So I got to go back to work. And that's the mentality. And meanwhile, traveling with a flower. Just think about your words. You need a vacation. Would you rather do it with your homegirls, or would you do it with your man? Keep it 100. Exactly. That's the point. And this is why I'm doing these podcasts, because I want us all to understand that we don't have to be alone. We force ourselves to be there. But you have to date. You must date in order to get to know the person. You must date to get to know if they can be that second half and hold that second half down like a man, or if he's just that cute guy that wants the cookie, and then he's like, you want commitment now and he don't. No, don't give him the cookie. But go out, have some drinks, hang out, show your interest, see if he's truly interested. Because, man, some of you guys are shady, man. Some of you, I've had some discussions with some of the women that follow, and I tell you right now, some of them, they hit me with this thing where I didn't even know I was dating a married man. Come on, man. Come on now. You got to treat these women like they're deserving of being your queen. Otherwise, man, come on. All you doing is sitting there and stirring the coffee up and putting no sugar in it. And it look like good coffee, yeah, till they taste it, right? You're leaving a bitter taste in people's mouths. So some of you, man, got to step it up, man. You know, you got to step it up, period. Now, one of the dangers of doing this alone is that because you're so focused on your personal stuff and not a relationship, you're so focused on you and you're just putting all your time into you. It's me. You fail to realize that you're developing a trait of selfishness. You're training yourself to be selfish and don't even realize it because it's disguised. It's like that thing where, you know, the serpent came to Eve and, you know, he didn't lie. The serpent, the devil's a liar. No, the devil don't lie. He ain't never lied. Stop telling people that. The devil's a deceiver. The cold thing about it, you could deceive somebody with the truth, people. The devil told Eve the truth, but he coded it in such a way that she was tempted to experience that truth. Because the truth seems so awesome. Oh, no. He told you that you died. No, he didn't mean it like that. No, what he's saying is that you can't see sin, but the day that you eat from this, you're going to be able to see some of the stuff that he could see that you can't. You're going to have some of his power. Power? Really? Ooh, let me try that. I like that. See, the devil didn't lie to her. He just deceived her. And so once she sat there and she ate, then there came all hell. The devil presented that place. So a lot of times you'll sit there and you'll make yourself think, you'll deceive yourself and make yourself think that something that looks good and sounds good must be good. What's that phrase? All that glitters. That's right. I'll let you finish that one. Ain't gold, right? Being single for a long time can foster personal growth. It'll foster it. It won't let it grow. It'll keep it there. That growth will just stay right there. You know why? Because God blesses people through people. We grow through people. Doors are open through people. I don't need nobody. No, yes, you do. See, again, you deceived yourself. We all need each other. We all need people, period. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on here talking to you. I'd be talking to a mirror. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here looking at me. You'd be looking at a mirror. We all need people. God blesses people through people. Helping people develop a strong sense of self-reliance and independence. It's what it does. Being alone fosters that. You start trying to break out of that shell and you develop independence. And independence is great, but at the same time, independence is dangerous. Because it can go from being this awesome thing to all of a sudden being a selfish thing. And then you develop this characteristic that is completely unladylike and it's more man-like. You become this boss. And then all of a sudden, everybody has to answer to you and it's your way or the highway. And even the relationship is trying to come and be in your life, but you want it this way. And if he can't be that way, then bye. And there you have it. The best thing that ever happened to you just walked out of the door. Again, because we're fostering and doing selfish things because you're being alone too long that you result to these tactics and don't even realize it. Single people may become better at handling life's unexpected twists and turns. They may also build up greater emotional resilience and coping skills than partner peers, learning to navigate the complexities and emotions of life without a partner immediate support. Yeah, you'll learn how to deal with your own self. You'll learn how to basically, in so many words, build your own life, your own world. Yeah, you'll learn how to do that. But again, it's the guy with the Mercedes that is successful, but the passenger seat is empty. It's the guy with the business in the Mercedes that's successful, but at the end of the night, you'll find him at the supermarket shopping for himself for that night instead of shopping for the family. This is what happens. Yeah, you develop all of these skills, but you can't share them with nobody but the boss at work. And this is what we deal with. These are some of the repercussions that go along with being single too long. There's a reason why we should be single. The reason why we should be single is being single is simply a reset button. You have to look at it that way. Being single is simply a reset button. Okay, you know what? I had a bad hand. This ain't worked out. You know what? Reset. You're going to reset. And that's what single is about. Just a reset button. Regroup. Get your composure together. Get your mind right. Look at the situation. Look at the outside. Say, okay, I won't repeat this. I won't repeat this and I won't repeat this. Why? And I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of the stuff that you go through is not the other person's fault. Some of that stuff was created by you. So if you can just at least get the stuff that you can control and say, you know what, I'm going to fix this. I'm not going to fall into this. I won't repeat this because that is what caused that, and this is why I'm where I'm at now. When you begin to just reset the table, that's what being single is for. It's not to be single for life. The Bible said it. It's not good for man to be alone. That's why he created then another. Said, you know what? Let me create another. Okay? So then now you guys can build. And that's what it's about. Being single is simply a reset button. Now you got yourself right, your mind right. Okay, I'm ready. Let me try this again. Let me do it a little different. Let me put that little twist in it. No, it does not mean that everybody that you go out to eat with and hang out with has to put his hand in the cookie jar. No. Take that time to get to know people to see if they're even worthy. Then it says, over time, single people may become desensitized to the idea of being in a romantic relationship. Now, how many of y'all done fall for that one? Been single so long, just the idea of being in a relationship now is like, nah, I'm cool. Go out, hang out with somebody, or just give your number to somebody, you have a conversation, he say the wrong thing. I'm straight. I'm cool on this one. Lost interest. Like that. Desensitized. You just like, easy. Done. It's the kind of stuff that happens when you get used to being alone too long. The key word is too long. Leading to a reduced desire to pursue romantic connections. Now, you don't even have a desire to pursue a relationship. And by pursue doesn't mean that you went after the relationship. It means the relationship came to you. It came to you. It seeked you out. Just like the Bible say, a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor before the Lord. He seeked you out. He found you. He wants you. And you can't even pursue that relationship. You feel as you don't have the energy. You don't have the desire. You don't care for it. You're desensitized completely from pursuing a relationship. You rather stay at home by yourself, work extra hard, kill yourself working, come home in pain, go to the store and buy stuff just for yourself and shop for others that ain't thinking about you, but you thinking about them. Calling your girlfriends, girl, come through. Oh, girl, I'll come over there. Okay, cool. Just to go over there and she hanging out with her dude and you coming home to an empty house. Girl, I got to get ready to go to work tomorrow. I got to work all week. Desensitized. Again, the key word is this is the kind of stuff that happens when you are single too long. Then it says, some people, for instance, may find long-term satisfaction from being single, appreciating the freedom and opportunities it provides. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad thing in my eyes, depends on what the opportunities are, right? The only danger in that is that it just may be an opportunity that turns into trouble. Because sometimes some things that look good is disguised, is deceiving. Yeah, that's just how it works. Now, my next question to you is, how many of you guys believe that being single for a long period of time can actually affect your mental health? I'm curious what you think. I think it can. Being single for a long time can potentially affect your mental health in the same way that any relationship status can. Oh my God. You hear that? The same way a relationship can affect your mental health, being single for a long time can affect your mental health. Yeah. How many of you guys ever seen that movie? It was a movie with Tom Hanks, and he was on a beach all by himself. The whole movie was him, and he was all by himself on this beach. He was on a plane crashed. He ended up on this island. He survived the crash, and he's sitting on this island. No one could find him. They thought that the plane, when it went under, they thought that everyone died, but he survived it, and he was on this island. They had no idea there was a survivor on this island because the current of the water actually, brought him to shore in this abandoned island. And so he sat there, and at first he was trying to, survivor skills came out, and he started building this and building that and building shelter and finding ways to eat and ways to fish. And then he discovered the island had coconuts. And after so many years, he got all hairy. He got this. His mental health started being affected. Next, he's talking to a coconut. Being single too long can affect your mental health. Maybe not in that scenario, and maybe that scenario is just drastic, but it can. Now, good for nobody because you think you good for everybody. But what happened to equally yoked? What happened to working to satisfy the other partner and vice versa, right? For some people, being single for a long time can have positive mental health outcomes, such as increased self-discovery, personal growth, and the freedom to pursue individual interests and goals. However, for others, extended singlehood may have less favorable effect on mental health. Being single for a long time may cause feelings of loneliness, isolation, social exclusion, potentially leading to depression and anxiety. Now, before we end this show today, We got to get to a point where if you truly know what you want and what you need, because see, a lot of people, they live by what they want but have no idea what they need. Reminds me of when my oldest daughter was younger. She says, Dad, how come you can always buy all the stuff that you want? And I said, well, baby, I says, because I don't buy what I want. She says, well, I'm looking at everything. What do you mean? I says, I don't buy what I want. I buy what I need. I grab what I'm going to buy and I say, do I want this or do I need it? If I want it, then I say, well, I could probably do without it. But if I need it, I got to take it with me. And it's the same approach with relationships. A lot of people pursue what they want while being single. Whether it be careers, accumulating things, clothes, feeling like they're like the prize. Because somebody's out there to take you down. Somebody's out there always trying to take you down. Destroy you, whatever you want to call it. Less often than none, do you find people that say, you know what? This is what I want, but this is what I need. I'm going to focus on the things that I need versus the things that I want. And then you'll find that all of a sudden, your outlook of relationships begin to change. And you begin to see people differently. I mean, you'll see them for who they are. Don't get me wrong. But you still got to use discernment. You know, I could see a black ant standing on a black rock in the middle of the night, at midnight. That's how cold my vision is. And girl, I'll be right here. So at the end of the day, you got to understand what you need versus what you want. Stop chasing the things that you want. Most single people that have been single for a long period of time are chasing the things that they want. And this is why they don't have the things that they need. Someone said to me, Pastor Man, well, why you been single? I said, well, because if I give my spirit the things that my body wants, or better yet, if I give my body what it wants, I'll never give my spirit what it needs. See how that works? If I can give my spirit what it needs rather than give my body what it wants, then I can turn out to be a great, significant other to someone. I don't have to repeat what I went through that led to a divorce after over 10 years of being married. See? You gotta put yourself in a mental space where you see things differently. You're not accumulating things because you're trying to be selfish or you're trying to build for you. You want to give yourself what it needs versus give yourself what it wants. You want the house, you want the car, you want the job, you want the money in the bank, you want this, you want the 6 figures, you want the man that makes that kind of money. You want the man that's 6 feet, you want the man with stomach muscles, you want the man that every woman wants. But what do you need that can benefit you and you can grow with? That can establish you, help establish you for your future. And that's what it's all about. My name is Pastor Max. This is the Pastor Max Show. This is episode number 2. I appreciate every single person that has been on here for this last, I believe it's a little over an hour. tell here, but I think it's a little over an hour. Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes. I want to thank everybody that came on here today and shared this moment with me. Remember, I'm all about trying to build our minds and our hearts so that one day you can be good for someone and that you can marry and build and submit to your husband. By submitting doesn't mean that you have to slave. It just means you know your role and he should submit to you and he understand his role so that we can get back to places where we can actually have marriages last a lifetime versus getting a divorce 6 months after we married because we didn't take the time to grow together, right? I appreciate everybody that came on here. Do me a favor. Make sure you go to our YouTube, which is youtube.com/the ampersand symbol. And then followed by that is Pastor Max Viana. Subscribe, like, share. I will be editing this video, taking this one down, re-uploading the other one in the next couple of days. I do appreciate every last one of you guys. I don't take this lightly. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I hope that this podcast helps somebody open your minds, put you in a place where you might look at Jerry now and say, you know what? Let me go out with Jerry. Let's go out to dinner. Let's go see what that's like. Let me feel him out. You got to open up. You got to open up. You got to give somebody a chance to come in your life and be that one. I love you guys with the love of the Lord. If you are on here and you are not my friend, my friends list is completely full. They won't let me add anybody else, but do me a favor, you can follow. So if you go on there and hit the follow button, or you can find my other account, Max Viana as well. You'll see the same picture, and you can add me on that one, and I'll accept that one. So either way, all right. Love you guys. Hope that this was a blessing to you. Thank you. Until the next one. Peace.